don't believe we have any guests other than illustrious District Governor Ed Marek, and he will be presenting to us shortly. As far as announcements, Monday was a great morning for me when I woke up and I saw that Pfizer had their vaccine. Looks like it's going. We should be all being able to get vaccinated in the next couple months anyway. So that's good news. I'd like to thank Jim Christian for fixing our banner. I think Jim's online, so a little round of applause for him. Thank you, Jim, a man of many, many talents.
Yes.
Very important. Masters Week started today, so we got that going for us. And then also very important is it's Lloyd of Rosedale Week. So those of us who are Gopher fans, talk to Mr. Cooper. He takes all bets. I think he's probably even willing to lay some points. So whether it's for coffee or pork sandwich, or a couple $100. Okay, he's nodding. Yes. So, got some sports going on this week. Bell ringing updates. There are just a few spots left. It's in case you aren't aware, it's December 4th. We're both at Walmart here and Crossroads Cub, and there is an opening to bell ring with, I don't know if I should mention his name because that may keep people from signing up, but Justin Miller is looking for someone to bell ring with at 12 p.m. at Walmart, and then at 4:30 there's an opening at Walmart as well. At Crossroads, it's pretty much filled up except for a 1:30 to 3, and great opportunity to bell ring with one of our newest members, Dan Perez, and get to know each other. So that's filling up nicely. Announcements. Tony Steele is not online today, but I do know, in case you haven't heard, that Strive has been pushed back to, I believe, the end of January. Yeah. Then we're going to try to hit it full force and spread as much of our knowledge with the youth of today as possible within a short amount of time. Community service. Nancy, do you have any updates?
You took care of that for me. It was just the bell ringing right now.
Okay. Thank you, Nancy.
Thanks.
Foundation. Mike?
Oh, I just.
It's hot, Mike.
Hot Mike. That's a lot of work to say 42. Okay.
You gotta step back though.
So we're at 42 right now, with 90 members. That means we're not even halfway there yet. What Beth and I were hoping was going to happen is that, I mean, the real challenge for this is the fact that we're doing this hybrid model. It's more difficult to reach out to people. And all I'm saying is, if you haven't donated yet, please go online and do that. We're trying to get it wrapped up. Well, the goal was to have it wrapped up by the middle of November. That's Monday. So if you haven't done it, it's been set on your desk. Today's the day to do it. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. And thank you for your passion with that. I know that everyone's going to come through for you. And just remember, a little shame goes a long way. Richard, Taste the Lakeville minute. 1 minute.
So you say a little shame goes a long way.
Yes.
And you gotta step back or everyone will just see your chest.
Good morning. A short
Further
taste
back. Yeah.
Good morning. We'll have a short taste of Lakeville. Short taste of Lakeville meeting after today. Like I said last week or the week before, if you weren't part of the team,
They can't hear you. You're gonna have to actually pick up the mic or go closer.
Like this. If you have, we're on a previous, if you previously were on a team doing something with Taste of Lakewood, we're assuming you're moving forward. So with that, please let me know if otherwise. We are looking for some new people to get involved, so please talk to me on that. And one of the needs we do have is we're going to be hiring an auction manager, but we do need someone in the club to kind of liaison with that person. So if you'd like to help out there, we do have a definite need on Taste of Lakeville for that. So a short meeting afterwards, it'll be a good time for people to share feedback on what we do with Taste of Lakeville, considering where we're at with COVID. So we'll start right away afterwards. Thanks.
Thank you, Richard. And District Governor Ed Marek, as you can see, this is nothing but a well-oiled machine, our meetings. So with that, I believe past President Ken Mosier will be introducing our governor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not quite as booming as Mr. Hendrickson, so I just want to make sure. Anyway, District Governor Ed Marek's first exposure to Rotary was being asked to join the Shakopee Rotary Club. He transferred to Eden Prairie Rotary when he received a promotion at work and began working in southern Hennepin County. He left Rotary for a time due to a job change. He later rejoined and has been with the St. Paul Sunrise Club, which then was known as the St. Paul Midway, since 2001. He has served as club president twice. In addition, he has served as the International Service Chair, Rotary Foundation Chair, Membership Co-Chair, and as co-chair for the St. Paul Sunrise Annual Community Forum. Ed is also a Paul Harris Society member and a sustaining E-Ray, which we all know stands for Every Rotarian Every Year. At the district level, Ed has served on the Fast for Hope Steering Committee on the initiative in Nicaragua. He's also served as assistant governor and a member of the district ethics team. The majority of Ed's professional career was in nonprofit fundraising and management, most notably with American Red Cross and as executive director of the Minnesota Environmental Fund. During his time with the Red Cross, he served on numerous national disaster assignments, traveling throughout Minnesota as well as Louisiana and Missouri. Ed is married to his best friend Sue, and they have a son, Steve, and recently lost their daughter, Amanda, to breast cancer. In their spare time, they enjoy cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, canoeing, kayaking, camping, hiking, and reading together. It is my sincere pleasure to give you District Governor Ed Marek.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate the introduction and nice invocation this morning. Really appreciated those words as well. And thank you, President Steve, for giving me this time to address the club. I really look forward to visiting with clubs. It's one of my favorite things to do with Rotary. And I've been to the Lakeville Club in the past with most recently with a Braver Angels presentation, but I've also attended the Paul Harris dinner a couple of years back as well. I would have preferred doing this in Zoom, but we live in challenging times, so appreciate your willingness to do this via Zoom. As we stated in July's Around the District newsletter, we want to be sure our members are staying both safe and inclusive, and I've been amazed at how seriously RI has been dealing with the pandemic. In March, they immediately suspended all travel by RI staff and senior leadership through the end of the year, December 31st. That's now been extended to March 31st, 2021. And they're still recommending that all meetings be virtual, canceled, or postponed. One of the strengths of Rotary, though, is the autonomy of our clubs. Clubs can make their own decisions, and I'm glad to see you've taken up the recommendations that we posted at the district regarding hybrid meetings and keeping people safe with masks, social distancing, and all of that. So thank you for that. NC Pets will be virtual this year, as will the midterm and the Conference of Clubs in April. Keep in mind that one of our focus areas for global grants is disease prevention and treatment. And RI is in constant communication with the World Health Organization with regard to polio. So I think they're getting a better sense of the impact of the pandemic than we get in this country with all the conflicting information that gets reported. I've been impressed with the Lakeville Club for a long time, the Paul Harris dinner and Taste of Lakeville, of course, road cleanups, bell ringing, the supporting 360 communities that I learned about is tomorrow night, so be sure you sign up for that. And especially now Peg Dunau and the Pollinator Garden, which was featured in a recent issue of Rotary magazine. Way to go, Peg, it was great. Last year, when the new vision statement was introduced by then District Governor Paul Perez, together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. Excuse me. I was struck by two aspects of this statement. First, that we create lasting change within ourselves. That's where all permanent and lasting change begins, within each of us. It then radiates out to our communities and the globe. As Gandhi said, you must be the change you want to see in the world. The second thing was that nowhere does the word Rotary or Rotarian appear. It's a recognition and an invitation for all sectors of a community to come together to make lasting change. And we can do that by increasing our impact, expanding our reach, enhancing participant engagement, and increasing our ability to adapt, which I think we're doing a pretty good job with all the Zoom meetings. Rotary International President Holgar's theme this year, I think, hit it right, nailed right on the head. Rotary opens opportunities. So appropriate given all the challenges that we're facing, and we have plenty of opportunities to work through those challenges. Holgar set out 4 goals for this year. The first, to actively work at creating new innovative club models. And you can help us expand our reach by creating a satellite club or by forming a community-based Rotaract club. Second, every club should host at least one strategic meeting each year at which you ask, what should our club be like in 5 years? And what steps should we take to help achieve that vision? What value do we bring our members? And then most importantly, select someone to lead that effort. Have a club champion. If you haven't done a club visioning session recently, consider contacting the district visioning team. They have a virtual club visioning session now. About 8 of our clubs in the district have gone through it, and it works very, very well. The third goal that Holgar set out, select new members carefully. Make sure that they're a good fit with your club and that your club meets their expectations. And finally, continue your club's efforts to end polio by donating to End Polio Now. We must fulfill the promise that we made to the children of the world. Holgar also shared a quote from Paul Harris. If Rotary is to realize its proper destiny, it must be evolutionary at times, revolutionary on occasion. He suggested that this is one of those times to be bold and make revolutionary change. He said this pre-COVID. Now post-COVID, we're in a time of rapid change. The pandemic, the killing of George Floyd, and the elevated dialogue on systemic racism, not only in this country, but across the globe, and the contentious election season we're going through. Rotary can play a pivotal role in these times by doing what we do best, bringing people together to solve the problems which will build goodwill and peace. Our membership brings together and values diversity of thought and perspective, which positions us to be better able to solve these challenges. As I mentioned in my comments in the installation, what impressed me the most about Rotary is that it goes beyond politics, governments, religions, all of the institutions that have a tendency to divide us, and instead focuses on our common humanity and making a difference in the lives of others. At the installation, I stated my number 1 goal is that Rotary remain relevant. Let's go back to Paul Harris for a moment, who said, "It is well that there is nothing in Rotary so sacred that it cannot be set aside in favor of things better. This is an experimental age in a changing world, and all things which are worthwhile and progressive are the cumulative effects of preceding successes and failures." We need to embrace the changes that are occurring if we're to bring in and nurture the next generation of leaders. That brings us to membership. Holgar envisions creating new clubs as a path to growth. Our sister district, 5950's experience is that their existing clubs brought in a net gain of 5 members last year. During that same time, they created 3 new innovative clubs, which brought in 70 new members, 60 of whom were brand new to Rotary. The presidents that attended NC Pets, as Steve did last March, had the opportunity to explore the new club models. Our plan was to offer that training at the Conference of Clubs last April, but as you remember, it was canceled due to COVID. However, we will be offering a virtual edition of this workshop with the innovative club models in January at the midterm. I encourage your President-elect Tom and President-elect nominee and your membership chair to attend, along with anybody else who wants to learn more about these models. Also, the membership team is hosting quarterly Zoom roundtables to share ideas, surface any concerns and issues that you may be dealing with, and explore the innovative club models. Do take advantage of these meetings. Steve Griffith, membership team leader, feels, as do I, that the key to membership and retention is service. The upcoming generation is more interested in using their time in service and accomplishing goals versus having meals together and listening to speakers. There's a wonderful book I recommend, written by John Kaufman, entitled Long Walk on a Dry Road. It tells his story of founding an NGO whose goal is to bring sustainably clean water to communities in other parts of the world. He quickly realized it would take him years to raise enough money to get that initiative off the ground. So he began looking around for a solution. Well, he found a turnkey organization to make his dream come true. He joined Rotary. He was doing something like 6 or 7 installations a year before COVID hit. But when you think about it, he didn't join Rotary. Rotary joined him. I shared this perspective with a couple of potential members to our club before they signed up. I posed a couple of questions. What are you passionate about? What would you like to see changed in the community or in the world? Where do you want to make a difference? Let Rotary join you in that effort. When you have members coming in with a passion for service and a goal in mind, they become the champion for that effort. That's how goals get accomplished. Play to people's strengths. Let them have the opportunity to lead. That's the key to retention. On foundation, first, congratulations and thank you for your support of the Push 400K campaign last June. We finished with $446,000 for the annual fund, surpassing our best year in 2017-18 of $415,000. Every club in the district supported this effort. We also made our goal for Polio Plus with over $150,000 raised. The foundation team is introducing new fun ways to make giving more compelling, leading people to make larger commitments. Why is this important? Well, it's not for the sake of money and hitting goals and looking good. It's for the good we do. Realize that gifts to the foundation translate into projects that support the now 7 focus areas that Rotary has established. Disease prevention and treatment, which I mentioned earlier, water, sanitation and hygiene, maternal and child health, basic education and literacy, community and economic development, and brand new, coming in July 2021, is the environment. And all of these flow into supporting the last one, which is peace and conflict prevention resolution. Furthermore, Rotary's 7 focus areas underpin the concept of positive peace, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Why is there such a focus on supporting the foundation? Well, very simply, our clubs are proposing more great projects, and that has been outstripping the funds we have available to match. So we end up matching 78 cents to the dollar that your club puts in. We want to be able to match dollar for dollar. So there's 3 ways you and your club can help. The first, E-rate, every Rotarian every year. We ask that the Rotary Foundation becomes one of your charities of choice. The foundation has an outstanding record for stewardship and accountability. 12 consecutive years of a 4-star rating. Only 1% of charities that Charity Navigator evaluates has received 12 consecutive 4-star ratings. It's a big deal. You know, having spent most of my career in the nonprofit arena, no questions asked. This is a tremendous accomplishment. Plus, you can direct how the money is spent into one of the 7 focus areas, into Polio Plus, or into the annual fund coming back to the district and your club to support your own project idea. When everyone makes a contribution that works for them, it makes the foundation that much stronger and we accomplish that much more in the world. There's an old Russian proverb that says, if everyone gives up a thread, the poor man will have a shirt. So please, consider being part of an E-Ray club. We have a new category of giving rather than $100 a year, $365, which is $1 a day. Giving $1 a day to the Rotary Foundation would go a long way to covering the gap in the grants match. Or if you prefer and have the means, consider becoming a member of the Paul Harris Society. That's $20 a week, which leads to an annual contribution of $1,000 to the foundation and a Paul Harris Fellow or Fellow Plus recognition in our gratitude. We currently have over 170 members in the district that are Paul Harris Society members. When I read the Rotary magazine each month and see what other clubs are accomplishing, I've often thought how cool our club should be doing that. But being in a small club, there's only so much we can do. Then I realized, wait a minute, we are doing that project because we support the Rotary Foundation. We're standing right there alongside that Rotary Club in Colorado or India or the Philippines or wherever Rotarians are doing good. We are one Rotary. On public image, telling our stories, letting the community know what we're accomplishing. It used to be somewhat easier when newspapers were thriving, so now many clubs need to look towards social media as a way to get the word out. Here's an example. I received an email from a woman I know who attended the virtual installation last June. She's not part of Rotary and knew very little about it. She wrote, "It was interesting to find out all the important work that Rotary does and that women can be in the club too. You're surrounded by good, caring people putting good energy into the world. That's the place to be. After watching so much news lately, it felt grounding and confirming to listen to all the positive vibes being shared by your group." She continued, "Unfortunately, my health prevents me from volunteering. But now that I'm aware of what Rotary is doing and no politics or religion, I would be honored to make a donation." And she did. Let's circle back to that concept of positive peace that I mentioned earlier, and I encourage your club to explore this further. We have a partnership with the Institute of Economics and Peace. You can find out more about them on Rotary.org. Now, negative peace is so-called is simply when there is no war, there's no conflict going on. Positive peace is a bit more complicated. The IEP was formed in 2007, and they conducted research and came up with 23 indicators that demonstrate how peaceful a country is. Those 23 factors were distilled into 8 elements of peace, which reveal how much positive peace a country is experiencing. Basically, the better the score, the more peaceful the country. When citizens are supported and needs are being met, we eliminate the need for conflict. Rotary Foundation's 7 focus areas flow into those 8 elements, supporting them. So it was natural for the 2 organizations to pair up for their common goal of world peace. Rotary has created a PowerPoint presentation, complete with script, for clubs to use as a program. Please consider it for a future meeting. Mentoring is another great way clubs can get involved, particularly during this time of COVID. Sean Berry, Public Image Team Lead, created a mentor-mentee sign-up page on the website. Last November, we held a mentoring meetup in St. Paul at Summit Brewery. Rotaractors, Rotecs, and Rotarians were invited to sign up and indicate what field they had knowledge of or were interested in learning more about. There were some great conversations and connections made that evening. We'd planned to do another round last spring, but the quarantine intervened. So we're developing a system where Rotecs, Rotaractors, and younger Rotarians will be paired with seasoned Rotarians to connect on their own. If you haven't signed up yet, please consider doing it today. It's a great way to give vocational service. You can find the link on the website. Rotary's action steps to the strategic plan include expanding our reach and enhancing participant engagement. Here are 2 ways that they're doing this. Last fall, Rotary's Board of Directors adopted a statement on diversity, equity, and inclusion. It reads, As a global network that strives to build a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change, Rotary values diversity and celebrates the contributions of people of all backgrounds, regardless of their age, ethnicity, race, color, abilities, religion, socioeconomic status, culture, sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity. Rotary will cultivate a diverse, equitable, and inclusive culture in which people from underrepresented groups have greater opportunities to participate as members and leaders. And last June, Rotary International released this statement. At Rotary, we have no tolerance for racism. Promoting respect, celebrating diversity, demanding ethical leadership, and working tirelessly to advance peace are central tenets of our work. We have more work to do to create more just, open, and welcoming communities for all people. We know there are no easy fixes and that challenging conversations and work lie before all of us. Rotary's strength has long been our ability and commitment to bringing people together. We will tap into that strength now as we stand with those who are working for peace and justice. Rotary will do our part to listen, learn, and take action to ensure that we continue to contribute to making positive change. The Rotary International Board of Directors met last July to discuss and determine action steps to be taken on the issue of diversity, equity, and inclusion. They created a task group to gather information and develop a plan to move Rotary forward. You know, as part of Fast for Hope, I went to Nicaragua early on to help develop the vision for the initiative with the Rotary Club of Messiah and the NGO Kairos. I was astounded by the complexity of reaching an agreement on a vision statement involving 2 different languages and cultures. We all wanted the same thing, but the words and their nuances, once translated, got in the way. In the same vein, we have all had different life experiences and understandings, and it takes a genuine, honest willingness to be open to bridge the divides. Last June, the South Metro Networking Rotaractors launched a book club on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and I'm encouraging clubs to consider doing the same. The Rotaractors would be happy to recommend titles that will help you begin the exploration. You can tap Rachel or Adam to ask about that. Your club members can read a book together and schedule a meeting or 2 to discuss and consider it. As I indicated in my comments at the installation, it will not be comfortable, but it is necessary and we all have to do our part. The district ethics team, as you know, has been offering presentation describing the Braver Angels organization, and Bruce and I presented to your club. This grassroots organization was started after the 2016 election to see if Hillary's supporters and Trump supporters could get together and have a civil conversation. It turned out with little help they could. The ethics team presentation highlights the program elements and its goal of reaching across the political divide to depolarize the country. Incidentally, if you haven't taken the online skills workshop Braver Angels offers, you might want to consider it, as it will actually help you in having those difficult, uncomfortable conversations around racism and equity. Braver Angels has launched a new program titled With Malice Toward None to help the country come to terms and move forward together after this year's election. Here's one of the testimonials for this initiative. Regardless of who wins the 2020 election, it will be up to us as citizens and civic leaders to renew our commitment of building goodwill and civic friendship. That's why I'm supporting the With Malice Toward None initiative by Braver Angels. I encourage civic leaders everywhere to join and get involved. Signed, John Huco, General Secretary and CEO of Rotary International, Braver Angels member. Another area that creates peace and understanding is youth exchange. And although we don't have an exchange this year, we can lay the foundation for success in the future by promoting the program to students, potential host families, and schools. This year, North Star Youth Exchange will be focusing on refining and improving their systems, as well as developing marketing materials using social media to reach out to students. Human trafficking is another important issue we're working on together with the other 2 districts in Minnesota. Currently, reports are that trafficking has been increasing during the pandemic. I know that many of our clubs have initiated projects, and there's more to do. And there's actually a training this Saturday, on the 14th, you can still sign up for it, check your emails or go to the district website for more information. And finally, polio. I think Holgar summed it up beautifully. We must fulfill our promise to the children of the world. But enough of me. Thanks for taking the time to listen, and we'll throw it open for questions.
Governor Merrick, I apologize, we're a little bit shy this morning, I guess. I'd like to thank you for your passion and for, I know it's quite an undertaking to be the district governor and having to meet with all these clubs at various times during the day. So thank you for that. And please come back and join us again.
And Steve, I'll be meeting with the board at another time, which is fine. We'll schedule that. But in the meantime, you'll be receiving an email from me, which has got a list of everything I just threw at you, because there was a whole lot, with the links to find out further information. So you didn't have to be furiously taking notes. That information will be passed along. So watch for that email. And thanks for having me today. I appreciate it.
I was also hard to thank you. Hard to know that many of the initiatives that were laid out in the spring, we have either accomplished, like the visioning and some of those other tasks. So I think we feel pretty good about that. Thank you. Master at Arms time. Look at the excitement here. And he's got a hooligan to help shake down.
Steve got to keep this up because there's a football game tomorrow night. So I want to talk about tomorrow night's football game. Yeah, who's playing? I like in Minnesota. Yeah, how about that? Nobody knew that. Any idea how long those two teams have been playing each other? When did they start?
How many years?
Yeah, no. When did they start? When was the first year? When was the first year when Minnesota played?
You're wrong. You already said 1937.
1891. Woo! So how many times has Minnesota beaten Iowa in those years?
A lot.
Within 3. No, you get, but you get a follow up anyway. This is your chance to get.
How many times has Minnesota won?
Yeah. 62. They won 62 times. Iowa won 49. Woo! 2 guys. I want to talk about the Floyd Rosedale. We're going to get to that. When did that start?
A long time ago.
1935. But it really didn't start in 35. It really started the year before that. And that's the fun part of this. When I really wanted to do this session, and I got all my information from the Minnesota Public Radio. It was just a really fascinating story. Go out and read it. It's just, I'm going to highlight some of it. Okay, so who are the football coaches? The first Floyd Rosedale game.
The first Floyd Rosedale.
So who would have been the Minnesota coach? Bernie Bierman. Give me a buck. And the Iowa coach, Ozzie Solomon. Both teams had a couple of superstars. Minnesota's was Francis Pug Young, and Iowa's was a guy named Ozzie Simmons. So what made Pug special? Anybody know?
His name.
We got their money, right?
Wasn't he a player and coach?
Well, you're close. No, he was a player, not a coach, but the team captain. Pug was the best player on the team and a real role model. In a football game, he broke his little finger, and they said it was set crooked, and the thing stuck out, and apparently it bothered him, and he just said, "Cut it off." I mean, the Minnesota football team, they were animals. It was a sense of pride that he played with 4 fingers on one hand because he was tough. I mean, the whole team was just that they're animals. So what made Ozzie special? Anybody know? Well, he had all the fingers. No, okay, so Ozzie was a black athlete, and there weren't many black athletes playing football. But he was a walk-on from Texas. Him and his brother and a couple guys hopped on a train, came to Iowa, walked into the coach's office unannounced, and said, "I want to play football for you." And at that time, at least with the Big Ten schools, they were reluctant to bring on black athletes because you couldn't play in the Southern schools. Southern schools would refuse to play if you had a black athlete. Some of the schools would leave their black athletes at home just so they could play them. I mean, yeah, amazing. Anyway, Ozzie obviously got a scholarship and his brother got one too. At the end of all this, the NFL also banned black athletes. Ozzie would have made professional football, ended up being a school teacher in Chicago. So pretty cool. And we're going to talk about this football game. So this is 1934, and Minnesota comes to Iowa for the game. Any idea what the final score was? This is 1934.
13-10.
48-12.
Minnesota won, right?
Minnesota won. Now, here's what was significant about the game.
Did you play in the game, Mike?
No. I bet there's some people out there may have seen it.
Well, don't forget the quiz then.
I don't know. Okay, here's something. Talking about Ozzie, he's now my Iowa hero, right? Here's what. Iowa star player Ozzie Simmons was knocked out 3 times in the first half. They finally, obviously, they took him out of the game. I mean, Minnesota knocked him out 3 times. Now, obviously, Minnesota nice had not been invented yet. Iowa fans accused the Gophers of late hits, piling on and intentionally trying to hurt him because he was a black athlete.
Don't forget the quiz then. We need their money too.
Well, anybody know who the announcer was for that football game?
Racers.
Here, go in front of here.
What?
Go in front of here and ask them.
All right, we're going to ask everybody out there. Anybody know who the announcer was for that football game in 1934? Duh. Nobody's left. Ronald Reagan. Is that cool? Okay, so what else was significant about that game in 1934 besides beating up on Ozzie? It was the year before was the end of prohibition. What did that mean? A lot of alcohol, and the Iowa fans were getting pretty upset. They were mad at the refs. They were certainly mad at Minnesota. And anyway, the newspaper described it as a drunken orgy. I don't know what else happened. I understand the drunken part. I don't know where the rest of that came from. And it didn't elaborate, so I don't know. Minnesota went on that year to win the national championship. So that was 1934. Is everybody paid their money yet? Okay, I want to keep going. Okay, so the next year, the rumors were, it turned out Minnesota had to come back to Iowa the following year. It was a scheduling screw up. And so the game was going to be played at Iowa for Iowa's homecoming again. So there was rumblings going around that the Iowa fans were really going to have it out for the Gophers. Iowa's governor, Clyde Herring, made the statement, if the officials stand for any rough tactics like Minnesota used last year, I'm sure the crowd won't. Anyway, this look, everybody. I mean, it got everybody in the state involved. In both states, Minnesota too, they're saying, wait a minute, you're trying to incite a riot. So, Governor Floyd Olson from Minnesota trying to diffuse all of this, offered a bet to Governor Herring, a Minnesota prize hog or a prize Iowa hog to the winner. Pretty cool. So anyway, Minnesota went on to win that game again, but this time nobody got hurt. The Iowa governor got a prize hog from the Rosedale Farms outside of Fort Dodge and took it to St. Paul, walked it into the governor's office, and presented it with the winner. The hog happened to be the brother of Baby Blue, who was in the movie State Fair. I don't know if anybody was, I mean, obviously none of us saw it. But it was State Fair, and it was starring Will Rogers, but that turned out to be, so that hog was almost already famous. So now what happened is the governor had a contest, it was an essay, right? An essay, and a 14-year-old boy won the trophy, or won the pig. And he ended up donating it to the University of Minnesota College of Agriculture. They later sold it to a farmer in southeast Minnesota for $50. Now, this was back in the 30s, so that was probably a lot of money. Here's the kicker. Floyd died 8 months later from cholera. It turns out Floyd had never been vaccinated. The farmer assumed the university had already done it. Ironically, the Governor Olson died a year later from cancer. No, a month later, the governor died of cancer. The actual trophy was commissioned to a St. Paul sculptor, Charles Brioche. I just thought that was pretty cool. There was a celebrity at that football game. President Franklin Roosevelt's former son-in-law, Curtis Dahl, who attended the game as a guest, suggested they name the pig New Deal. I don't know if you remember from your history, but yeah, the Depression went from 1933 to 39, and Roosevelt, the New Deal went from 1929 to 39, so it'll have to be there.
Thank you, Mike Cooper.
No, one last one here. This is great. In the last 5 years, how many times has Tom Lord served me coffee?
Well, three.
5. Got a streak going right now. Well, this is the clean game, and the Gophers are showing us mercy. Happy dollar.
I have a happy dollar because we realized during this meeting on Facebook that it's Steve Walapka's birthday today. Happy birthday, Steve.
Thank you.
So yesterday morning I was watching Squawk Box, and being Veterans Day, they had on there a bunch of Corvettes lined up out on the street, and the organization Corvette Heroes was selling raffle tickets, and 26 of these Corvettes were like donated or found and brought back to life, and they were having a lottery to give them to people that donated to the cause. So I put my $50 in and got some tickets. My number was like 1.9 million as far as the certificate goes. So my odds probably aren't good at winning, but if you see an old Corvette out front next year, it's probably going to be mine.
Yeah.
Around the number.
Happy dollars.
He's online. Where's Ken?
Lori has happy dollars.
Well, I have a shameless plug. I already shared with my friends online here, but I'll share with the group in the room. We're having our Fire and Ice virtual gala tomorrow night. It starts at 6:45 and it'll be a good show. Our illustrious Dave Oswald is the MC. So thanks, Dave. We have a cameo appearance by our own Mayor Anderson. And thanks, Doug. And anyway, it's going to be a fun show. Some good stories and some feel good stuff and a little bit of humor too. So everyone's invited, and Kathy has the info that hopefully she can send out. So I'd love to have you all come and watch. Thanks.
Thank you, Lori. I think that'd be worth $5, right, guys? Right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll Venmo $5.
Clint Kennedy, I'm sure, has happy dollar of $5.
Sure, I'm in. I want to share that I call my dad down in Arizona every evening, and part of our conversation is nature news. And so we tell stories about what we've seen out in the world. And here in my neighborhood, we have a horned owl that we can hear hoo-hooing. And you might remember some of the members when we had somebody from the ornithology lab come and bring a horned owl. It's a great sound, that loud hoo-hooing carries for blocks. And also a couple days ago, I had a pileated woodpecker in the maple tree right outside my home office. So it's been a good month for birds.
Thank you, Clint. Any other happy dollars online?
I do have a happy dollar.
All right, Jim.
I subscribed to the Minnesota Department of Health, the COVID data, and I was really happy to see that the drop in cases went from 6,000 a week ago to less than 1,000 as of this week. So I thought that was great news.
Thank you, Jim. Is that as happy as we're getting today, guys? Okay, we're going to draw a number. Mr. Mayor.
Last three are 999.
999. Cody says keep it. Thank you, Cody. Great service. Please stick around for Taste of Lakeville meeting immediately following. I think it'll be right up here so that we can Zoom with several people as well. And this concludes them with a 4-way test. In the things we think, say, and do, is the truth.